Um, Good evening mga bay ug mga day. Welcome to HopeTV, one of JCI Cebu's #Project Hope initiatives that believes there's hope for everyone. I'm your resident psychologist, Chen, and I'm going to host with you tonight. No? And I'm really excited actually kay naatay bag-o na host karon kay wala man si Bro RR for now. Please welcome brother Jurex. Hey, bro.
Hi, Chen. Thank you for inviting me to be your guest co-anchor tonight. I am excited for tonight's topic and good evening to our viewers here online.
Oh, lagi. Kamusta ka diha, bro? How are you doing?
Okay ra, bro. Work from home since March. So thank you actually sa invitation.
I see.
For me getting out of the kanang ano.
Yeah. Actually, bro, exciting kaini na topic para nako tonight, and in fact kaila ko aning tulo ka speakers nato no, so really really great. I want to share about the actually this topics kay psychologist man sad ko, and grabe kay nag-impact sa mga clients ay nako. I don't know, bro, naka-follow ba ka sa previous episodes nato sa Hope TV?
Yes, I do follow the last episodes that you have.
I see. Mine noon, bro, actually, after exploring different areas affecting our mental health, last 6 episodes, tonight, kita, bro, really sending our warm virtual hugs and support sa atong brothers and sisters sa LGBTQIA community. Medyo taas to na. LGBTQIA. Yes. Unsay maingon nimo about ani na topic man, bro?
Yeah, so bro, it's very important, for me, and as someone who has been very vocal about LGBT rights and also mental health. I am very excited to learn actually more. I've actually tried to learn all about LGBT rights and mental health for the last 3-5 years pa lang, no. So, but now more than ever, it is crucial that we shine light on mental health in the LGBT community. And, we must ensure that all people, regardless of where they are in life, that they receive the support needed to truly thrive. And this is a very special and important topic tonight. And we're very glad to have these guests with us.
I see. Mao na siya, bro, actually. And for those who want to, give us questions anonymously, feel free to really send us through our Facebook post. You can just put your comments there, ay kabalaka, and hopefully ma-answer sa ato mga really special guests tonight. Excited sa kay ko silang expertise and advocacies. Maayo kay ni sila. I'll do my best pod to answer these questions. But before we get to these bro, maybe you can introduce our first guest right now.
Okay, so our first guest is a product of Ateneo de Manila University. He is a registered psychologist, a well-being advocate. He is the Flourish Circle head of the mental health advocacy of LoveYourself Cebu. He is no other than Neil Steve Quintanar. Neil?
Hi, may gabi.
May gabi. Welcome.
Hi, Chen.
Hi, sir. Amazing. Nag-abot good to.
Yes, of course. Let's just catch up afterwards.
Yes, please. Yes, please. I'm very grateful to have Sir Neil there, guys. Here, he was actually my teacher back in undergrad and masters. So he was really a great teacher to me, and I'm grateful he's here. So mao na siya, bro, no? And actually we also have another guest speaker tonight, and I actually know him personally. Actually, his name is Chase, and he's the founder and president of the team or Transman Equality and Awareness Movement. No? He's the regional officer of the Rainbow Rights PH Please welcome Mr. Chase Tolentino.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Can you
Hello.
hear me all right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, awesome. Great.
Uh,
Welcome, Chase.
yeah.
Glad you're here.
Uh,
Ikaw, bro, Jurix, maybe you can
Sige,
intro
so
the other.
third guest na to bro is the current president of the Men's University Cebu, a consultant for Y-Goal PH, and a paralegal in training for Rainbow Rights, an advocate for SOGI awareness, LGBT mental health advocate and community champion, and an advocate for HIV prevention. Everyone, let's welcome Reggie Manabilang. Reg?
Hi, everyone. Hi, can you hear me?
Hi. Hello,
yes.
sir.
Hi, Chen. Hi,
Hi.
Chase. And Neil.
Hey.
Great. We're all here now. Okay. Um, I'd like to ask, no, kamusta mo mga guests na mo, no, kamong tulo ka guest. How are you right now? How's life treating you? Ikaw, Sir Reggie, kamusta man ka karon?
Well, I think no, and I'm okay. I think I'm one of those fortunate enough to still be able to continue to work despite the pandemic. Feeling blessed that despite the pandemic, we were still able to continue with our work life or advocacy despite the fact na hindi na masyado physically na but
Hello, Sir Reggie. It seems your signal is breaking.
We're still trying the best that we can to get in touch with everyone and be able to continue what we have started in our group.
All right. Thank you for sharing that, sir. From what I got, no, you're grateful because you get to work from home and still continue your good work right now. No? So I'm actually grateful for that, and thank you for being here, sir. Thank you. How about you, Chase? How have things been? No? Kamusta ka diha?
Okay, Raman. Fortunately, I still have a salary, so okay lang. Then, these past days, I felt anxious, although I can't tell you why. Like, I can't pinpoint the reason why I'm anxious. No. But otherwise, I'm doing great. Yeah.
I see. Glad to hear that. No, lately it's been quite frustrating and stressful, siguro, and it's maybe very normal to feel anxious.
Oh.
Okay. Or nitingog balik ang kuan ang lain na guest. The connection seems to be breaking.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Chase, for being here.
Oh.
Ikaw, Sir Neil, kamusta ka diha right now?
Hi. I'm coping right now.
Can you
So
hear me?
not really flourishing as I wanted to be, but I'm coping well. So there was a time during the early parts of the lockdown, I was having difficulty, but now I was able to set some goals, small goals, and then achieve it. In fact, so I've been doing a lot of exercises, skipping rope for the past 2 months. So yun, and then this month, like maybe June and July, I was able to accept more engagements, like speaking engagements, and then I was also having I'm also able to do online classes.
I see.
And then even meeting clients also online. So I'm getting used to it, but I still wish I could meet more people face to face with them. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Meet more lovers. I mean the love yourself.
Okay. uh, I can relate to the meeting. No? It's really a bummer, no, now that we can't really meet as much people right now.
Right, right.
Only virtual. That's true. Despite everything, to our guests, no, I'm really grateful. It's been stressful, but you still found time to be with us, no, and share this advocacy. So really, really grateful for you guys. No? Uh, it's been stressful for me, and I can imagine po nimo bro Jurex, no? But perhaps marag stress pod ka diha.
Yes,
And
bro.
kana bro, it's been how many months right now? 4 months since our community quarantine measures have been implemented sa country, and most of Cebu has been under MGCQ lately. Is that right? Where people um, makaadto ba tag beach karon bro, or murag dili gihapon pa
Okay, bro.
pa dita ka hug, dita ka kita, dita ka adtong beach unsaon na lang. But we're really reminded to stay at home right now, really to keep our loved ones safe and our community safe. No? The threat of the virus has not faded yet, as COVID-19 cases nakagrabe gihapon. No? And in fact, as of last night daw, there have been ni-rise na siya as high as 13,539. So that's 13,539 cases, and 8,072 of these cases are concentrated in Cebu City. Okay, so can you imagine that? Grabe kadaghan sa Cebu City, Jude. That's quite a lot. Total cases for the Philippines karon panahon na is 68,898, and 43,991 are still active cases karon. So that's imagine na anak kadaghag tao na infected, no? And here's an infographic if you just want to read that there. No? Actually, that's quite a lot. We've become the leading country with the highest number of active cases in the Southeast Asian region. So sadly, we want to become leaders, but dili untaan na dapita no na leading ka. So so dear viewers, if you feel you have symptoms of the COVID virus, please contact the DOH 7 hotline for a free swab test. There's really no shame about that. Ikaw, bro, unsay mo pagtan-aw aning COVID situation karon? How do you find it? Is it getting better, worse?
No. So basically, for me, based on the current studies, manggod bro, it will rise pa daw, no, ang cases. So I guess we go to still the basic foundation of kanang keeping ourselves healthy and safe, no? Kanang simply washing of hands, and when going out, kung kailangan lang jud, no? So I guess we really have to follow that kanang basic kanang foundation of being safe.
I see. Up to jud, bro, actually. Do you want to invite one of our guests right now to perhaps share their inputs?
Yes. So for now, bro, we'll go to the kind of quick talk of our guest advocacies, no? So we'll invite them one by one, so they can because they have prepared a short introduction about their advocacies and the causes they are supporting. So first, we will invite Reggie of Rainbow Rights to tell us a quick overview of his group's advocacies. Men's University Cebu. Reggie?
Perhaps Sir Reggie is still trying to reconnect.
We're still having a technical problem, no?
Yeah, so maybe we can proceed with the next speaker's input lang siguro. So next to Reggie, who's that?
We'll have Chase Tolentino of Transman Equality and Awareness Movement.
All right.
Chase?
Sige. So, Transman Equality and Awareness Movement is a group for transgender men. Because most groups in the Philippines are either well, most of them are focused on HIV, right? The HIV advocacy, like Love Yourself, which Neil is part of. So, and there are trans women groups, but not so much trans men groups. No. Then, so we help them look for doctors. We help them through their transition, like how to transition, where to go, where to buy, ganon. And then I'm also part of Rainbow Rights. So Rainbow Rights is more, what do you call this? Empowering people with knowledge. So the focus mostly is on the legal rights of LGBT people. Yun lang, yung introduction.
Thank you,
Great.
Chase.
Okay. Thank you for that intro, Chase. And I'm hoping one of our guests can reconnect na. Sir Reggie, are you still there? Can you talk right now? Perhaps technical difficulties kahapon. If he hasn't reconnected yet, perhaps we can have Sir Neil to share more about your group's advocacy. And
yes, you're right. So currently, I do represent a lot of groups, but currently I represent Love Yourself Cebu. And Love Yourself is a HIV prevention, HIV testing, and treatment hub also. Okay, so mainly it started there, but currently we're branching out also to the mental health, especially for gay men. Okay, they started about mental health of people living with HIV, but we're slowly branching out to mental health in general. You know? So that's why Manila created the Flourish Circle, and we're bringing it here in Cebu. So currently, I am training under them on how to bring it to the Cebu program.
I see. Thank you, Sir Neil. That's actually great that we're handling more and more about mga advocacies like mental health. So they branch out the IJUD. That's really great. Can we have our next speaker? No? Sir Reggie, are you still there?
Wala pa siya, bro, Chen.
Wala pa siya?
We will come back to him na lang later as we progress.
I see. Okay. Why blame?
So we'll go to the kind of the real talk section of tonight's event. No, so we know that studies show that because of stigma and discrimination, the LGBT youth particularly are more likely than the cisgender ones to struggle with their mental health. And LGBTQ people are more likely to experience depression, anxiety, a low self-esteem, and even suicidal thoughts, compared to their cisgender peers or straight peers. So as per the Human Rights Campaign, these statistics are even higher for members of the bisexual and transgender community. So I would like to ask, starting with Neil, and then we'll go to Chase, and then if Reggie is here later, can you share to us an experience you had before of discrimination or stigma, or someone you know, and for the benefit of everyone watching right now, who may have also been dealing with this, how did you cope up with that situation? We'll start with Neil.
Okay, so I'm a gay man, and I'm a cisgender gay man. No? So I do experience discrimination, but more often than not, I experience more of microaggressions than discrimination, the big ones. No, so microaggressions are example kapag sinabi na, wow, ang gwapo mo sana, Neil, pero lucky man imong ganahan, ana ba? So kanaming ana, or sigurado gyud ka, Neil, wa ka kasuway og kanang babay, baka kailangan ng kapatilawon og babay para mahimo kang straight, diba? So kanang that was a micro invalidation of my experiences also. So kaning ana, or the view, the view that gay men are pedophiles, kapag ko ana gani, gay man gani, konta na nila, magpalayo tanan nila kay they will abuse children. So kana may ana na mga istorya no nakakuan ko ana naka-experience ko may ana no. Medyo privilege ang akong status. Kaya siguro dili kay ko ma-discriminated because number one, my presentation is also very male, very masculine. No? So I'm sure my transgender sisters or transgender brothers, they experience more societal discrimination. No? But on a bigger level, I still hope that I can get married one day. So I feel though that my love is not recognized by the state. So in that level, I feel that I am discriminated. No? Ayun, meron din pala that ideology of the church that my love is actually sinful. Like being gay is not a sin, but engaging in sexual act is a sin. Or expressing our love to another gay man is a sin, diba? So in fact, because of that, I was raised Catholic since nursery till graduate school. I was in a Catholic school. So parang because of that, parang ang effects ako kay mura kog ni rebel against the Catholic Church. And I feel that I'm looking for a church right now, and I feel that I want to belong to a church, but I don't know what type of church or where is this church. So parang yung ana ba? So ang effects ako kay mura kog na I'm not religious anymore, but I am spiritual. And ganun na lang, di ba? I'll be more spiritual than religious. So, I think more ng mga examples of the discrimination siguro that I experience. So, microaggressions, ideologies of the church, no laws about same-sex marriage or even partnership, no recognition for that one. I also want to adopt one day, become a parent. So, wala tayong mga processes for that. So, yan.
Thank you, Neil, for that. No, so for especially talking about microaggression, because I think this is something that is prevalent in society, especially in the Philippine society. That we're not really we think it's a joke lang, and then we're kind of not very sensitive with those things. No, so something that we need to discuss. So Chase, anything you want to add regarding your experience also?
Yeah. I think the worst experience I had was at the airport and at the Philippine airport because I never had an issue abroad. Sa Pinas pa jud, no? Then, so I went through the checkpoint and then I was frisked. Tapos the person who frisked me was like, "Oh, why are you in this lane? You should be on the other lane." And then what's so funny is he's a gay man. The person who frisked me was gay. Tapos my brother was behind me, Lyndon. Then he pointed at Lyndon and said, "How about you? Are you also like that?" Wow. Well, ganon. So, because trans people's identities are always being invalidated, it's definitely a different struggle from what gay men experience, diba? Because
Very different.
because for gay men, it's like, ew, we don't like who you like. It's so disgusting to see two men together. But for trans people, it's like, baka you're confused or you're crazy or something like that. Na, why do you think you're this? You're not, no? And then they always have to base it on your genitalia, no? Your they want your sex to match your genitalia. Parang ganon, your gender identity to match your genitalia. Then, yun lang. And also, when we... that was the worst thing I experienced. But other people have experienced worse. Like, they have to show their body parts to prove that, they're male or female or ganon. No? So, in Manila, there was a case where 2 trans women students were told na they cannot wear the female uniform unless they've had a sex change. And they were actually asked to strip to prove it. Strip for the school nurse. Oh. But diba, parang, ano ba yan? You have to go naked in front of somebody. And then they even took pictures daw. Oh. Yun lang.
Thank you, Chase, for that. Rochen, you have question? Or is Reggie already here na?
Hello,
Wala pa.
sir. I think he's
Yes,
here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Finally. Yeah. So yeah, so the question was about any discrimination experiences. Personally, I think it was a day before Pride March 2019. Me and my group actually experienced a form of discrimination in a way na gibuhat siya naman siya joke ra from other people. However, I took it offensively because what happened is that um, we came from Abeliana at that time. We were practicing for the Pride March because we wanted to make it sure that we will be able to show some of our talent. So we practiced dances together with the rest of my group, and then going home, sumakay kami ng jeep pauwi. So, sakay ni jeep pauwi. And then, pag-abot na mo, paglingkod na mo, and we were not even doing anything yet. Okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, pag-abot na mo sa jeep, so, we were not even doing anything yet, but paglingkod na mo, I already heard the driver shouting to the other driver on the other jeepney saying na kani sila kay kanang dubli ni sila bayad kay mga dubli ni sila kalag. So I felt bad about that kay parang hello?
Yes.
Yeah, so I felt bad about it because unsay pagtuni or kanang okay na kung supernatural mi ng mga pagkatao that we do have two souls, why not, but and apparently for them it was just like a joke, but I took it differently because are you trying to use our gender as a form of joke, and why are you not doing it to the other genders, you know? So yan yung mga klase ng discrimination na hindi naman necessary na gawin, however because of the you know I think no, because ano yung nakasanayan ng ibang tao, Filipinos specifically, and they feel like it's normal and like people can just take it parang easily na parang okay na yan. Anyway, these people are comedians, most of them are comedians, most of them are jokers, so they think na kaya din namin mag-take ng ganung klase ng mga jokes, but it's so sad lang na we get to experience that kind of matter. And another thing yung sa workplace naman, I believe I'm happy in a way that to some extent that in the BPO industry where I'm actually currently working at, that there is a certain range of acceptance in this kind of industry with whatever gender you have. Although meron pa ring mga experiences wherein people doesn't get to really understand what how to properly address or to equally provide that kind of avenue for these people to express themselves. However, majority of the BPO industries naman are actually open to that, are very accepting and open to the LGBT community. And I really hope that, wherein for example, for our trans women na mga kapatid natin, they are able to express themselves as who they are. They can actually go to work wearing women clothing, walang discrimination. Although there are few na may mga instances pa rin na gano'n, na kinu-question pa rin kasi nga yung iba merong questions about like mukha naman siyang lalaki, so nagsuit babae lang siya. So may mga ganong klase ng mga may mga ganong klase pa ng mga comments from other people and sometimes from security guards pa who are trying to implement the rules of the company or of the building itself. However, but there are a lot of BPO industries already that are very much accepting.
Okay, that's good to know, Reggie. Bro Chen?
All right. Thanks, bro. It actually pained me to hear some of the experiences, no? Kay dili lalim discriminate and look down upon, and it seems it's so normal around our culture. So I actually have a question, perhaps for one of our guests. So we've actually heard about soji, no? What exactly is soji, and how can one differentiate as such, no, sa soji? Can one of our guests answer this, or perhaps I should pick one right now? No? Maybe we can have Sir Neil answer this one. So, Sir Neil, can you tell our viewers right now what exactly is soji and how can one differentiate such?
Okay, so soji, di ba? SOGIE is sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. Okay? So that's the meaning talaga, no? So I'm thinking on how I can have a whole day talking about soji, but how I can summarize it in 3 minutes or something, no? So
Okay.
Ideally, let's start with gender identity. So gender identity is how you see yourself. Are you a man or a woman, or are you fluid? Are you in between? No? And then how do you identify yourself? No? So if I will ask you, how do you see yourself? If you really look at yourself. So this is a sinasabi na psychological, nasa brain, nasa mind, yung that analogy. No? So if your biological sex is a male, you have a male genitalia, your hormones is more male, and then you have sex characteristics that are male, and then you identify to be a man, you are a cisgendered man. Or the same thing, no? Vice versa for a woman. And then, but if you identify opposite, meaning your biological sex is male, but you identify your gender identity is the opposite gender, for example, a woman, then you are a trans person, okay? Or a trans woman. Okay? Then ganun din yun for trans man. If you were born female and then you identify to be a man. Okay? So that's gender identity. Now, every gender is always expressed. And expression is really based on a cultural, it's very cultural, diba? So how does a man express being a man? How does a woman express being a woman? Diba? So that's very cultural. And for example, for a woman to be called beautiful, she has to be pretty, put on makeup and lipstick, put on a dress, maybe pink dress, pink shirts, no? Or feminine colors. So parang ganun yung expectation ng society on how to express oneself. So kung ako, for example, trans woman ako, how do I express myself? If I believe that I'm a woman, then I will express myself in feminine ways. Diba? So that's what we mean by expression of it. Okay? Now, sexual orientation is different from gender identity because sexual orientation is who do we fall in love with? Who do we commit to? Who do we marry? Who do we fantasize? No? So it's if gender identity is the mind, sexual orientation or sexual affectional orientation is really about the heart. Now, who do you fall in love with? So, sexual orientation is who you go to bed with. Gender identity is who you go to bed as. Diba? So, yun, kapag sexual orientation, meron tayong gay, lesbian, meron tayong heterosexual, straight, meron din tayong bisexuals. And then, yun.
All right.
So, that's the pinaka-shortest version that I can.
Amazing.
And Reggie might have something to add on.
Yes, please. Ikaw, Sir Reggie, do you have something to add?
I think it's more on the letter E part of it, wherein I think Sir Nilo already mentioned some of it, which is the expression part of it. I think the normal thinking of people is that the expression part of it is like, for example, if you're born man or a male, you are expected to, macho. Kailangan ganun yung expression mo ng pagkalalaki mo, macho ka. So kapag the question there is that kapag mainhin ka ba, hindi ka na ba lalaki? So the same way with girls, na kapag when they were born a woman or babae, they were already expected by the society that they should act like mainhin sila, or they should be wearing palda, or they should be wearing something that is socially tawag mo dyan, already imposed by the society. However, we forgot to the human as we are, we always forget to think that we're unique individually, that we have different ways of expressing ourselves. So even if I am a born male, but it doesn't mean that I have to act, I have to sound very macho, because what if yung physical, yung internal, yung anatomical being ko hindi capable of actually being able to really sound like a macho man. So does it, and right away ang inclination ng mga tao is that if you do not sound like that, and if you sound like medyo Mariah Carey ang peg, then automatically bakla ka na. So people would have that kind of thinking that way. But SOGI is for everyone, and it's not just for LGBTQIA, because all of us has different ways of expressing ourselves. And we have girls who prefer to actually wear pants. It's because they're more comfortable wearing that, but it doesn't mean that they are a lesbian or they are trans man. They are, for example, Dutch people, ang part sa kanilang culture are nakapalda sila on their traditional costume, but that doesn't mean that they are gay. Yung ganung klase ng mga traditions, that the way those are differences, but we have to understand that instead of putting these people into these personalities, we might want to focus into the accepting and respecting their individuality. So that's what is SOGI is actually trying to push about.
Thank you for that, Sir Reggie. I'm actually learning quite a lot. So it's really not about just the LGBTQIA, but it applies to everyone. How about you, Chase? Would you have any more inputs?
Yeah. Nowadays, we don't say born female, born male. We say assigned female at birth or assigned male at birth. So, like, transgender men are men who are assigned female at birth. Trans women are women who are assigned male at birth. And I like this new way of defining it because it removes all the buts. No? Like, because in the past, you'd say a trans woman is a man, but who identifies as a woman, no? So parang may negative language, yung but, pero, like that. And then same with Reggie. For trans people, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a trans man, you have a masculine expression, or that you're a trans woman, you have a feminine expression. And even this is true even with cisgender men and women, diba? Like Chen's brother's best friend, per me maaan ug bayot, diba? Tinuod dili. I won't name na lang who, pero diba maaan siya bayot because he's medyo mahinhin.
Pero kaila ko anak niya daw. Okay.
Yeah. Ano lang.
Okay. Now that you mention it, bitaw, no? But anyway, thank you for that input. I also appreciate your input, Sir Neil. Very passionate kay ka sa topic, and I love that. Ikaw, bro, Jurex, do you have any questions for our
Yes.
guests?
So we're now talking about Soji naman jud, bro, no? So we'll go to really the deeper part of this kind of discussion na on the mental health, no? So for our viewers to understand why we are discussing this right now, LGBTQ mental health, I would like to ask our guest on what is the intersectionality of Soji and mental health and why we're discussing this one. Can we start with Neil?
Okay, so when you say intersectionality, is that how do they cross each other, right? And it's what you've said earlier, no, sa pag-start nato sa program, you did say that people with diverse SOGI have may mga issues sila, may mga mental health concerns sila. Okay, higher ang risk of suicide, and then higher din ang risk for anxiety and depression. Now, we need to understand that it's not because they have different or they have diverse SOGI kaya sila merong ganon. Okay? Merong mga mental health concerns. So it's not about who they are. It's not about their sexual orientation. It's not about their gender identity. Why they have depression, anxiety, or have suicide thoughts. But it's more of we in LGBT psychology. Now it's more of we are experiencing more minority stressors. Okay? Aside from the general stressors that we experience, the general stressors are stressors that ordinary or everybody experience, like traffic, heartbreak, or bills to pay, or family problems. No? Those are general stressors everybody experience. But people with diverse SOGI, we have more stressors. We have an additional stressors called minority stressors because we are part of the minority. Ito yung mga anti-LGBT stigma that we experience. No? For example, yung earlier, mga discrimination, mga prejudices, microaggressions, mga hostile environments, no? There's no laws that protects our well-being, or there are laws that hinders our well-being or that criminalizes our well-being. Mga cultural ideologies, cultural norms, ito yung mga external anti-LGBT stigma. Okay? Meron din kaming mga internal anti-LGBT stigma like concealment pressure or mga internalized homophobia, biphobia, or transphobia. No? Earlier, it was mentioned na even kapwa gay men, di ba, mag-away sila, or the more masculine gay men will look down on the effeminate gay men, or the effeminate gay men would say to the masculine gay men, "Huy, panggawas sa mo diha, uy." Di ba? Parang naing ana na koan. So na feeling of shame and disgust, no? So these experiences, that's what contributes to the negative or to the downward spiral of the well-being of people with diverse SOGI. Okay? So yun yung naka-contribute nila. So yun, I think grabe ang how that is a model on how we can understand the intersection between being an LGBT and mental health natin.
Okay. Thank you, Neil. I think somehow you've already kind of explained all about it, no? So, and you also mentioned about self-discrimination, which is something that is very triggering also for us, no? And I think, Bro Chen, you have another question to our guests?
Yes, bro. I actually want to call out one of our guests, and ask, uh, with your experience, how can we call out discriminatory people? Perhaps I can. Um, I'd like to hear your input on this, Chase. How can you call out the discrimination from someone?
Uh, I think it depends, no, on the situation, because for me, you don't have to call out everybody, and there's no point also in calling out everybody. You have to pick your battles, because there are people who, no matter how well you explain it or what you say, they're never going to accept what you're saying, no. But then there are also people who you might be able to rationalize with, like many people are against gay marriage, and it's because they don't understand the legal implications of not allowing gay marriage. But if you speak to a rational person and you explain that, for example, two gay men, one is sick, is in the hospital, and the partner wants to visit, but they can't because they're not married, then they'll understand, oh, okay, so there are actual, like, real life effects, no, when they're not able to get married. So, or when one dies, who gets to decide the funeral rites? Diba? It's not the partner, it's the family. And the worst part is, if the family was not accepting, diba? So what if this gay man who died was kicked out by his family, tapos yung partner has no right at all to see to the funeral rites, tapos ibalik sa family, and the partner can't even visit. So, di ba, parang it's very unfair. And then when you explain these things to people, many of them will understand naman, oh, meron palang, like, implications, real life implications, real life effects. Hindi lang they just want to get married because they want to. Parang, what for? It's just a ceremony, di ba? But it's more than a ceremony. It comes with legal rights.
Okay, thank you. I actually learned quite a lot. It's not a real life implications based on these state decisions. Thank you for that. Ito, bro, Jurix. Any
Can I
questions?
add on something, Chen, about
Oh,
how do we call out?
Sige, Neil.
sure, sure.
So although Chase did say about choose your battles, no, but if matatag po ang loob natin at kaya natin ipaglaban, no, to those LGBTs who are watching, please report the discrimination that we've experienced, no, because we have the Mandawi has a SOGI bill, SOGI what you call it sa Mandawi, but we have the anti-discrimination for Cebu, no, and then SOGI has a man code or something, right? And we need to put teeth into that law or into that ordinances. We need to fight and give an example, but that, you know, we already have these ordinances. Kaya kung matatag ang loob natin, alam ko na mahirap ang laban, no? But if we can, no? If we can choose that battle, then please do so.
Sige, can I add na lang since he mentioned laws?
Yes.
Sige. So the ordinances, yes, are there, but like as witness Quezon, no, even if they tried to implement the ordinance, wala nangyari. Because they did not make it clear yata the process for how to do it. Then the other ordinances don't have implementing rules and regulations, making it harder to implement. But for LGBT people, there's one law na, for all people, one law na malaban sa lahat, yung safe spaces law. So, in the safe spaces law, kahit someone will just shout at you on the street and say, bakla! You can you can report them na. Or even in the workplace, ganon. So, it's covered by the safe spaces law.
All right. Thank you for that. And And thank you for your input, Sir Neil. I actually didn't know much about those laws, and we did already rely on them, actually. Thank you. Ikaw, Bro Jurex, anything you want
Yes,
to
so Bro Chan, this is for Neil and Reggie, no, as being part of mental health advocacies na to. How do we encourage and empower our LGBTQ plus youth to maintain pride and confidence on themselves?
Una ka muna, Reggie, kasi I'll collect my thoughts.
Okay. I think I, most of the time kasi there is always an inclination that LGBT people are strong people. People would always tend to have that kind of thinking because we try to battle our own our own challenges, our own struggles, and most of the time on our own because of the situation, because of the community where we are living in that is not totally accepting of us. I think what we, and that's why nagkalat yung mga madaming mga LGBT organizations, mga community-based, most of them that are actually advocating for just like mental health advocacy. In that way, they could start reaching out to their fellow people of diverse SOGI. And just like what we do in or in our organization, we want to make it sure that we educate our own members because doon magsisimula eh. So mahirapan kami mag-reach out to the community if we ourselves are not educated of how can we take care of our well-being. We cannot share to others what we don't have, right? And that's what we have been trying to do for the past 6 years of the existence of our group, and it's kind of, you know, sometimes it's difficult because especially if hindi siya, so people doesn't really know about mental health, you know, talk. I thought para sa kanila it's not an important topic for other people, but when they get to understand that we all go through a certain phase in our lives wherein we start to question everything that is happening around us, and it impacts us mentally, and that's where they start wanting to know more about it. And slowly but surely, we get to be able to reach out to those communities. Could be able to start taking care of their well-being. And I think if I just want to go back to the inclination of Soji and mental health, ang problem kasi is that, and that's what we've been trying to do, is that I think the mention na to ni Neil kanina na even in the LGBT community, people, some of us are, you know, mahilig kami mag-push. Yung mga tao na mahilig mag-push na, oh, mag-come out ka na. Ay, bakla yan. Nakikita ko yan. So, bakit di pa yung gusto mag-come out? Even as are questioning ourselves. But without understanding that we all go to different challenges on our own, and not everyone is capable enough to actually come out, and knowing the fact that there are probable consequences when they do that. And not other people are actually understanding na pag sinabi nila pag mag-come out ba ako, do I have to actually be loud? Do I actually do I need to act like the other people that what they see on TV or what they commonly see around us? So coming out is even a question, and coming out is even a decision. It's a mental health decision, because if you cannot, if on your own you do not know yet your capability in facing whatever will happen to you after coming out, then you might wanna step back first and reflect on when is the right time to come out, or to whom are you going to come out, because at the end of the day it's gonna impact your well-being kapag negative ang nagiging effect nung coming out na yon. And that's what I've been trying to to tell people in my group, na not to push anyone. Wag nating i-impose sa kanila yung mga matters na yon, because it's an individual decision. And buti sana kung merong every time na may magka-come out sa kanila, we're ready to shield them. But if we cannot even promise that to them, then we do not push them to do that, and let them go through the phase on their own, but to make it sure that make them understand that we will be there for them, to support them, and then help them later on kung ano man na magiging possible na outcome ng coming out nila, if they are already ready.
Thank you, Reggie. Neil, anything you want to add to that?
Yes, no. Ako naman very personal. So I'm also a counseling psychologist. So how to get that identity pride really for me is really to love yourself. Di ba? Ano din promotion. Really, what does love yourself mean? It's really believing that you are okay. It's believing that you are loved, that it is not a sin, it is not abnormal, it is not a disorder, you are not broken, that you need to be fixed. So that change of belief, I know mahirap yan, no? Because as kids maybe we were meant to realize that. So, and sometimes counseling and therapy might be able to help you with it, but that babalik tayo dun sa being compassionate and being forgiving to the self, because once we've accepted who we are and love ourselves for who we are, then we can be proud. So we can be proud. So we can achieve identity pride already. So yeah, that's just my very personal lang na tip.
Thank you for that tip, Neil. Bro Chen, do you have other questions?
Oh, yes, of course, bro. I want to direct this to perhaps one of the guests. I think we're getting late na. So, what is the most prevalent and most critical form of LGBTQ discrimination that we as a society have to address in the fastest way, based on your experience on the field? No, I wanna ask Sir Reggie this question. So, what's the most critical na form of discrimination that we have to address now para nimo, sir?
Well, for me, no, specifically in the workplace, marami ng LGBT that are already in the workplace. And I think knowing the fact that there are still other institutions that are not able to provide the kind of benefits. I'm not saying, I'm not sure how to term it basically, but Chase knows about this. Yung klase ng mga benefits na hindi always nabibigay sa mga LGBT or people of diverse origin na meron sa ibang countries na nabibigay sa kanila. Like for example, kasi I think that's one a form of discrimination that we are not able to tackle. And some BPOs right now are able to provide, yung pag meron kang health insurance for your other companies provide health insurance na pwede mong ilagay yung partner mo as one of your dependents. So which is actually very good. And I wish and I really hope that this could also be applied to all other like for example for SSS, like for example for Pag-ibig, yung mga even in BIR na for your benefits, because those are this is already happening, this is already existing. We have people that are already in a relationship partnered with people of the same gender, for quite how long now, for many years. In fact, some of these relationships are longer than even those cisgender relationships. So and they don't get to be able to make use of the benefits that uh, uh, they have, and these cisgender people are able to get just because of their gender identity, and because of their soji. So um, and for me, if they could be able to get it, then that's one step towards really I understanding, accepting, people of diverse soji, because it will give them a lot of freedom to actually decide for themselves what to do, especially pinagtrabahuan mo yun bilang tao, 'di ba? So you have if we're talking about a democratic country where the freedom comes from the people itself, hopefully the people can decide for themselves kung para saan nila gustong ibigay yung benepisyo na nakukuha nila. Hindi yung the society and specific laws that would hinder them to actually um, you know give make that decision for them, kasi um, that's why we're very that's why just what Chase talked about gay marriage a while ago. If people are not understanding why they are wanting to make that happen, akala nila just because of the ritual lang itself, just because for the sake that we wanted to be wearing a long gown or a white gown and march in the aisle. Hindi yung ganun lang, kasi pwede naman namin gawin yan sa West kung, 'di ba? And without necessarily having that kind of ritual. But the other side of it is more important to us, in being able to recognize that we have people that are with us and who deserves to get the benefits that we are experiencing, and other people heterosexual people are experiencing.
Yes. Thank you for that, Sir Reggie. Like what Chase said and you said, no, there are really huge practical implications to these forms of discriminations, no? And it's quite frustrating. They ma-enjoy ang benefits di ay sadly tungod ana. Um, thank you. Ikaw, bro, Jurex, do you have another question, perhaps?
Yes, bro. So I'm going to throw this question to Chase. No, so with how the LGBT community was pathologized as a mental disorder in the 1970s, which is actually really rooted in stigma and discrimination. No, for you, how should all gender, including heterosexuals, no, heal the wounds of this historical prejudice against the LGBTQ plus community? Chase.
Well, sorry. um, I don't know. I don't think you can make up for what happened in the past. But moving forward, I think our future lawmakers are going to be more open, and maybe a decade from now, we'll finally have our mga anti-discrimination laws and our same-sex marriage laws and our gender recognition laws. But and also I noticed something, like in countries where it's more accepted, or even with the youth now, it's like they don't know that uh, LGBT people used to go through this kind of discrimination. No, mga younger like high school, college, because many of them experience na acceptance from their families and not experience the same things that we did, no, our generation. So, but to heal the wounds, I don't know.
Yeah, so I hear you. It kind of it still needs a long way for it, no, to really recognize this kind of stigma and discrimination that the LGBTQ plus community has experienced through the years. Bro Chen, do you have additional questions?
Yes, actually. So I want to direct this to Sir Neil. There is the statement phrase by the LGBTQIA activism years ago. It said that we are tolerated but not accepted in the Philippines. Do you think this is still true today? No? And what does it really mean to be accepted? How should heterosexuals like us, um, what should we do to take steps to fully really embrace the LGBTQ in the nation? Can you tell us a bit about that, Sir Neil?
Right, right. So parang there are three types of scenarios na. Like the first one is really the scenario when hostile talaga yung environment. At least our country, Philippines, is not hostile. Now, for example, countries in the Middle East, no, medyo may mga hostile environment, meaning may mga laws talaga sila that criminalizes same-sex behaviors, no, or being LGBT. So yun yung hostile environment. So meron din tayong a tolerant na environment. Okay? Tolerant, it means na okay lang if you're LGBT. Okay? But there's no laws or walang protection. Okay? Walang protection. Yung mga sinasabi ni Reggie earlier. So, yun yung mga tolerate, don't care context. And I think the Philippines is in that area. No? May mga, okay, accepted kita, but, no? Okay lang maging LGBT, but hindi ka pwedeng makipagkasal sa kapwa mong lalaki, di ba? So, yun, mga Manny Pacquiao statements, ganyan. Okay? I have lots of LGBT friends, but, ganyan. So, yun yung tolerant, no? Accepting is more of, we have the laws, we have the, that protects us, that supports the well-being of an LGBT. But ako, kulang kapag acceptance lang. No? So, celebrating din dapat. Okay? So, for me, accept kita na bading ka. Diba? Or I accept my son that he is gay. But will you celebrate with your son if he will get married or not? Will you celebrate with your son if he is or she is in a relationship? Will you celebrate with your transgender daughter if she wins queens, for example? Iba yung accepting, iba din yung celebrating. So I go beyond accepting, but we celebrate it with them.
I see, Sir Neil.
Can I add, Sir Chen?
Yes, go on.
Yeah. In regards to celebrating, and that's another scenario is, for example, when parents say that and even some friends, and say that they accept us, but in times wherein they may mga gatherings, for example, sa relatives, sa family, family reunion, accepted kita, pero hindi ka pwede magsuot ng ganito, hindi ka pwedeng kumilos ng ganito. Accepted kita, pero dapat ganito ka lang, medyo formal ka lang. So, may mga limitations yung acceptance. So, it's still a question of a genuine acceptance. So, if you are telling that person that you accept that, then kung pwede kayong magwalwal as babae, as lalaki, then why can't we be loud the same way when you try to introduce us to other people? And why can't we be ourselves when you try to introduce us to other people? The way we wanted to be, the way we wanted to act according to who we are and without specific limitations. And I think that's an initial step towards making other people. Kasi kung makikita nung ibang tao na, wala naman palang issue sa mga parents, sa kanyang parents na ganun siya mag-act. So why would I care? So why would I give it, a big deal kung hindi naman ganun ka big deal sa family niya, 'di ba? So it should start from there, and hopefully little by little, or actually matagal na tong issue na to. So if we could make a leap towards that kind of scenario, then then hopefully we could truly believe and feel that acceptance.
All right. Thank you, Sir Reggie. Actually, that was quite a valuable kuan pod addition. Thank you, Ato. Um, Perhaps we have a last question, bro Jurex.
Yes, bro. So this is actually for you, bro Chen, no, and our psychologist Neil, no. So we've talked. I think earlier we've talked about loving yourself and coming out as an experience, but no, as Reggie has also talked about it. So the final question that we have is: if someone is now experiencing anxiety or depression due to discrimination or fear of being discriminated, or even family estrangement, if they come out, what is your advice to them? Because maybe some of these people are listening right now and they are in need of concrete and specific steps on what to do. We'll start with Neil.
Halang, parang hirap yata not knowing all sides of the story. No? Parang hypothetical ang scenario. And I think Chen would know that. Like, assessment would take about 2 hours for us to really put on a plan. So a person who is anxious and a person who is depressed right now because of discrimination, may pag-asa. It gets better. That's what they say. Gets better. Contact us. Contact the different LGBT organizations in Cebu. There are a lot. Love Yourself. There are a lot. You're not alone in this battle, in this fight, in this struggle. And it do get better. It does. At least for me, it did. So just don't lose hope.
Yes.
Thanks,
I like
Neil.
that.
Bro Chen.
To add to what Sir Neil just said, actually, I just want to assure the person who's having that struggle that their orientation is not a mental disorder. There are studies that show that perhaps LGBTQ people are more anxious and depressed, but that doesn't mean it's because they are LGBT. It's because of the stigma, the discrimination placed upon them by other people. And I like that hope that Sir Neil spoke about. I think it usually does get better, but the worst thing we can do is to isolate ourselves in shame. I think one of the best thing we can do is to seek support from people who care about us. And a lot are out there and they volunteer their services, Love Yourself and other organizations. So why not seek support there? Thank you.
Right. And I think for JCI Cebu, no, for inviting us over, and for having an hour talk, no, about it. So mostly siguro yung nakikinig ngayon are from JCI. So I think that signals a safe message that JCI is a safe space for you. So contact your group first.
It's true. Thank you, Neil. Bro Chen, do we have time to answer questions from online?
Perhaps we can answer one or two questions before wrapping up. Do you have questions you have, bro?
Yeah, I have. So this is I think Neil and Bro Chen, you can also comment on this, no? So the question is from Neil Victor. How do you suggest or promote mental health to all students or graduates who will be taking their board exams with no certain date, or with that uncertainty that their exam may or may not be postponed? Is it healthy to accept defeat? How do we keep ourselves motivated with our studies despite the uncertainty on our schedule and the fear of COVID?
Oh,
Chen, ikaw yung nag-ano eh. Nag-board exam ka eh.
Oh, good point there. Okay. How do I promote my mental health as a student and such, especially kay na-postpone ng exam? Siyempre, taking the board exam is actually anxiety-inducing. I know from experience, and um, I think from what I learned around this COVID situation, it's best I surrender, no? And trust. Actually, I've come to learn that I've done my best, and I can't really be in control all the time. So if I have faith in whatever is out there, that really helps a lot. So siguro, in my case, I sharpen my saw, I enhance myself further, and I trust whatever is out there to take care of me. That's how I would do it as a person. And yeah, ikaw, Sir Neil, perhaps na kay input.
Um, the dream and the goal is always there, right? So don't lose that dream or that goal. You're just postponing it. So what are you going to do? As the meantime, it's being postponed. So there are a lot of ways. But ganun lang, don't lose the dream and then the goal. Everything naman right now is being postponed. Hindi lang naman it's not only the board exam, but a lot of things have been postponed. Marriage has been postponed. Travels has been postponed. A lot of things have been postponed naman. So, but it does not mean, I'd wanted to be enrolled in a PhD program, and currently it's being postponed. But that dream is not. I do not let that go. That dream. So just keep that dream on.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Bro Chen. No? So just second to the last question, I'll throw this to Reggie. Is Soji bill necessary? Very quickly, Reggie, can you give us some input on that?
Chase can also answer that because Chase is also in Rainbow Rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it is necessary. If yun lang ang tanong niya, yes, it is necessary. Because it will provide every one of us the opportunity to practice, to feel that we are all part of this community and we are all part of one community. If everyone is able to practice their rights, if everyone is able to benefit from the rights that they have, then I think it would be a more accepting country. It would be a more loving community for all of us. And if we all get to have that kind of experience, then if wala namang if there is no existing issues about our ability to get those rights, then I think we would no longer be needing to push for this. But the fact that we are not able to basically practice some of the rights that we do have as human beings, then that's why we're still wanting to push this SOGI bill.
Thank you. Chase?
If there is a SOGI bill, it prevents things. It gives you protection in the workplace. It gives you protection in school environment and even in public spaces. So, for example, your employer can't fire you just because he thinks you're LGBT. And then, so it doesn't only protect LGBT people. It protects all people. So I said thinks because, example, if you're the type of guy nga maaan o gay all the time, and then your employer thinks you're gay but you're actually not, but he fires you, he can actually file like a case against his employer, no? Discrimination because my employer thought I was gay. So, or in the workplace, no, it's also common for students to get not accepted or to be kicked out because they're LGBT. Should I mention the school? No na lang.
No need.
Tatlo yata tayo dun eh. That's cool.
Oh gosh.
But diba, like are those legitimate reasons for denying entrance into schools, or like offering someone a job just because they're LGBT? No. And then also it also protects people from going through what do you call this, Neil? What's it called? That corrective therapy thing. It basta conversion therapy.
Yes.
Yeah. So it also
Formative therapy
protects.
yung pumapasok sa utak ko eh. So nag-shift talaga yung aking ano. Right.
So yun, like example, you cannot be forced into conversion therapy. Or in the case of Jennifer Laude, di ba Jennifer Laude was killed, but then the sentence of Pemberton was reduced because it was a valid defense daw that that Jennifer concealed that she was transgender. And he was shocked. He was shocked that Jennifer had a penis, parang ganon. So, but in other countries, what Pemberton did would have been considered a hate crime. So he killed Jennifer because she was LGBT. And you'll see this, especially with trans women, that the way that they're murdered is especially violent. Like, they're not just killed, they're stabbed hundreds of times. Or like Barbie in Manila was stuffed in a bagahe, then thrown on the side of the street. Mga ganon. So it tends to be gruesome and violent, the way people kill LGBT people. It's not just kill lang, parang super violent ng paraan. Yeah. So an anti-discrimination law would give more legal protections to LGBT people.
Thanks, Chase. And I think I like the idea that, you mentioned about the SOGI bill is actually for everyone. It's not just for LGBT, but for also for heterosexuals, because of, gender is a spectrum anyway, right? So I think we have one last online question, and I'll throw this to Neil. How do you break the stigma toward HIV discrimination and promote more people to get tested for HIV? And just a follow-up on that, what orgs could help those patients diagnosed with AIDS?
Okay. Matagal na din ang laban ng HIV education, changing discrimination, talking about how do we destroy discrimination and stigma. Personally, share one's experiences, get to know someone who is positive, I guess, or when a positive person will share about his or her experiences, that really destroys the prejudice and discrimination. No? So I think that's very effective strategy. But hindi naman kasi maraming taong nag-share na. So education is really one way to reduce stigma and prejudice. But once we get to know the other side of the person or of the issue, there is understanding. Okay, so continue in HIV awareness, and then eventually HIV responsiveness also, and then there are a lot, no? Meron tayong mga Cebu City Health Centers, advocates. I'm not sure if Cebu Plus is still there. LoveYourself, of course. Okay. We have a current new space. We are already in Molave Street near Escario. So we are still on a soft opening, but LoveYourself, meron kaming testing, meron din kaming prep if you want to avoid also getting HIV. Meron din counseling and coaching for those HIV positive, and then meron din treatment, no, for those who are HIV, a person living with HIV.
Thank you, Neil. Bro Chen.
Yes, bro.
Okay. So I think that was a very meaningful discussion from our guests, no? Do we go to our next session?
Yeah, I guess we can call it a close, no? And to end the night with a lighter note, perhaps we can have our react a meme session. Okay, so if we can display those memes for our guests to perhaps give their honest reaction, that'd be great as well. Okay, so let's wait for those slides. Okay, so right here it says here, Tim, can you keep a secret? Of course. 3 minutes later in group chat. Now just between us girls. Okay, so um, Sir Neil, how would you react to this meme?
I think it's funny and I think it's true, but it's true for everybody, I guess. So I am in a group chat sa we're all boys even, diba? Because I'm from Sacred Heart and we have a batch group chat and gossip and it's very fast in there also. I'm surprised. So I guess it's true for everybody.
Okay. True that. Ikaw, Chase, how would you react to this?
If it's a secret, I don't tell anybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so dali kayo na makalat siguro, no? Next meme, please. Okay, when you answer good, thanks, but you're dead on the inside. Okay, so, when you answer good, thanks, but personally, I'm not sure what that means, but ikaw, Sir Neil, how would you react or respond to this?
The word that just comes into my mind is authenticity and honesty. And I think about authenticity and honesty has always been a struggle for people like us. So, yun, if you can, be authentic.
Yes, actually. So it's really a response to how are you? Good, thanks. Okay. Ikaw, Chase.
Yeah. If you're not close to the person and you don't want to share, then that's probably the response you're gonna give. I'm good, thanks, but wala. And then, but you probably talk to someone that you're close to, no, about your problems.
Yeah, that's true. So confide and trust. Uh, Thank you for your honest reactions, no? And I think that's all we have for tonight. Wow, we went past an hour. Wow. Thank you kaayo sa inyong time. Sir Neil, Chase, and Reggie actually left early. He has work. So I appreciate all your time. Ikaw po, bro, Jurex, no? I'm glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Bro Chan.
Yes, and on behalf of JCI Cebu's Project Hope, we thank you for viewing us tonight, no? And see you next episode. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.